In the dim corners of history, where shadows meet whispered tales of horror, the name Hannibal Lecter looms large, captivating and chilling audiences around the world. But what if I told you that the character who has haunted and entertained us was not merely a figment of chilling fiction, but rather a reflection of our darkest realities? You might be wondering, how close do we get to this terror in our own world? The story we're about to delve into explores the horrifying truth behind real-life cannibal killers, the individuals whose actions have inspired both fear and fascination. By sticking with us, you'll uncover secrets that blur the lines between sanity and madness, beauty and horror, and come to understand the psyche of those who have crossed the most dreadful boundaries imaginable. John Wayne Gacy, Jeffrey Dahmer, and Albert Fish, names that send shivers down spines, and yet they are but a few faces in a long gallery of human monstrosity. Each of these individuals had their own motivations, challenges, and ultimate downfalls. But what drives a human being to such extremes? To cannibalize another? The exploration of this question is not just a journey into the mind of a killer, but a deeper examination of humanity itself. Prepare to navigate through the labyrinth of human behavior, where curiosity is both an ally and an enemy. Surprising as it may be, the roots of cannibalism can be traced back to ancient cultures and significant historical events. Ritualistic practices around the world have involved consuming human flesh, not as an act of violence but as a way to honor the dead or to absorb the deceased's strength. Isn't it fascinating to ponder that the act we deem as the most horrific might have once been perceived as sacred? The societal structures surrounding cannibalism vary significantly, evolving as perceptions shift through time and context. But when we fast forward to modern events, what was once ritualistic has morphed into an act born out of the most extreme psychological disturbances. Take the case of Jeffrey Dahmer, dubbed the Milwaukee Cannibal. Dahmer's story encapsulates the visceral horror of a man who lured young men to his home, engaging them under a facade of friendship, only to subject them to a fate beyond comprehension. Dahmer wasn't just a killer, he was also an artist, one might even argue a morbid sculptor, disassembling his victims with a chillingly clinical precision. You might be thinking, how could someone so methodical descend into such chaos? The crucial aspect that intrigues us is not merely the murder itself, but the chilling normalcy that cloaked his heinous acts. He was a neighbor, a coworker, and to some, a friend. What comes next will leave you speechless. Dahmer had a certain deep-seated need that he pursued obsessively. He craved complete control, seeking to possess his victims entirely, both in life and death. After years of torment and dysfunction, he revealed in interviews the emotional numbness he felt, a disconnect from empathy that drove him into the depths of his obsessive compulsions. Inside, he battled demons many grapple with but ultimately lose to. Imagine fighting a war within that no one else can see while desperately seeking connection in the most horrifying ways. That raises the question, could there be more to understand about the psyche behind the cannibal? What makes someone a killer? Many experts suggest that a cocktail of elements, including childhood trauma, mental illness, and severe social disconnect, contributes to a descent into madness. Dahmer's life was a troubled one. He was a victim of his own demons long before he became a predator. If you think this paints a complete picture, prepare to be unsettled. Other cases reveal even more complex motivations that leave us questioning not only the nature of evil, but its origins. The gruesome narrative doesn't end with Dahmer. We must also discuss Albert Fish, often regarded as one of the most grotesque figures in true crime history. Fish boasted a string of horrifying claims about his cannibalistic practices, including the infamous case of Grace Budd, a young girl he kidnapped and consumed. His very actions sparked investigative measures into the mind of the criminal. What could drive a man to not only kill but relish the act of eating another human being? You might be surprised to learn that Fish claimed his actions were part of a larger divine truth, a twisted spiritual awakening that justified his cannibalism. How do we reconcile with such madness? On one side lies the horror, while on the other, a glimpse into what he perceived as a calling. Fish epitomizes that thin veil between sanity and insanity. While the everyday person upholds the norms of society and morality, individuals like fish tear through that veil, revealing a world where human life holds little value. As we unravel these stories, we find ourselves at a crossroads of curiosity and repulsion, yearning for understanding yet finding it difficult to digest. What about cases beyond American borders? Let's move our attention to the notorious case of Armin Meiwes in Germany. Meiwes famously gained infamy after he posted an ad seeking a willing participant for cannibalism. His chilling pursuit of a consultant to be eaten is a stark reflection of contemporary taboos pushed to their extreme limits, one that resonates with the very fabric of human desperation and desire for connection. Through engaging discussions online, where dark fantasies meet reality, Meiwes found not only a participant but a partner in depravity, presenting an unnerving exploration of consent in the most disturbing of contexts. In the world of the unheard, many may question if this was a metaphorical cry for help, or an exploration of uncharted desires. What if it sheds light on another aspect of humanity, the fear of rejection coupled with the desire to be wanted, even in the most abhorrent ways? The very essence of Muse's actions reflects a disturbing willingness to fulfill carnal desires that many deem unspeakable. Just imagine the mental landscape such a scenario would create, not just for the killer but for the willing participant as well. When we continue this journey, we will explore yet another tale that disrupts our understanding of morality, dragging us deep into the abyss of obsession and identity crisis. You won't want to miss how societal perceptions shape, and are shaped by, these narratives. As we move toward the next chapter, we'll reflect on what drives these men into the jaws of their dark destinies. What makes a comfort zone slowly morph into a danger zone? And, how do they justify their horrendous actions? The revelations we uncover might just challenge everything you thought you knew about evil. Stay tuned, buckle up for what's next, where we will dive deeper into psychological theories, societal impacts, and the chilling truth that awaits us beneath the surface of humanity. Keep wondering, keep questioning, because the story of cannibal killers is far from over. As we venture further into this dark labyrinth of the human psyche, one begins to wonder about the societal narratives that enables these horrific acts to emerge, transforming fantasies into reality. Our understanding of morality is often predicated upon shared beliefs, yet what happens when those beliefs are disrupted? For cannibal killers like Armin Meiwes, horror stirs not only from the act itself, but also from how society responds to their unfathomable cravings. In exploring Muse's case, we delve into the unsettling realm of consent, how a surreal desire for closeness manifests in the utmost extremes. Muse's partner, Bernd-Jürgen Brandes, volunteered to be consumed, presenting an unorthodox model of companionship that shatters conventional norms of human interaction. Were they simply two individuals wrapped in a web of shared fantasies, or were they representative of something darker within society? This partnership, not stained by secrecy, but rather born from explicit communication, invokes a reckoning with our own fears surrounding intimacy and rejection. Such open discussions ignite a cacophony of ethical dilemmas, raising profound questions regarding mental health awareness, the responsibilities of individuals toward one another, and concepts of consent. For many, the notion of being desired even in grotesque scenarios appears repugnant. Yet, it nudges the mind to explore the underlying truths about connection, unity, and how far people are willing to go to quell their own loneliness. What happens to our understanding of humanity when desires are set against the backdrop of collective societal fears? Muse's crime confronted the essence of taboo, unraveling a narrative thinly veiled in horror yet punctuated with threads of human longing. How does our society protect its folkways when faced with such extreme aberration? Could it be that we marginalize and stigmatize as a means of self-preservation, pushing such realities into the dimmest corners of our collective minds? As we dissect these threads further, the question regarding psychological profiles arises. What unites these disparate individuals, Dahmer, Fish, Meiwes, under the daunting umbrella of cannibalism? Research points toward a complex interplay of psychopathic traits often mixed with deep-seated feelings of isolation and rejection. cannibal killers frequently exhibit characteristics of antisocial personality disorder, marked by an inability to empathize with others. This emotional disconnect enables not just the act of killing, but the rationalization of consuming another human being. Think about this. How often do we dismiss the signs of mental duress in those around us? Are we culpable, even indirectly, in fostering environments that may culminate in despair or chaos? After all, while the acts of these individuals seem incomprehensible, they emerge from an underlying foundation of very tangible, human conditions, alienation, trauma, and an unmet desire for belonging. John Wayne Gacy represents yet another complex entry into this dark gallery of history. Gacy, who performed at children's parties as Pogo the Clown, led a double life that is as stunning as it is horrific. He lured young boys to his home, often with the promise of work, only to torture and murder them. In his extensive confessions, Gacy emphasized a struggle between his public persona and private life, a constant battle with his sexual identity that fueled his heinous actions. Gacy's existence underscores the chilling reality of human duality. The faces we present to the world can diverge so sharply from our inner turmoil. This poses yet another tantalizing inquiry: how do societal pressures shape an individual's psyche and choices? Gacy's fixation with normative structures, such as family and community involvement, may have masked his deteriorating mental state. His desire for acceptance in a world that rejected certain aspects of his identity ultimately led to an explosive eruption of violence, reflecting the borders of morality pushed to unimaginable limits. In dissecting these narratives, we need to consider how trauma and environment lead to monstrous behavior. From abuse to neglect, the formative years create a panorama filled with potential pitfalls for mental health. The stories of cannibal killers do not merely lie in their actions, they invite a deeper conversation about the society we create, the systems that fail, and the lack of dialogue concerning mental health and acceptance of differences. Yet, there remains one essential element that lingers in these unsettling tales: the physical act of cannibalism itself. What drives these individuals to consume flesh? For many, such acts are often intricately tied to a symbolic assertion of dominance. In the throes of violence, consuming another may represent the ultimate claim of supremacy, taking not just a life but a part of the very essence of the victim. Inasmuch, it reveals the way some humans seek control through horrifying means, distorting the innate desire for connection into a grotesque display of cruelty. As we unravel this exploration further, we can highlight how societal fascination with cannibalism is depicted in various media. Films, documentaries, and novels often oscillate between horror and fascination, reflecting a morbid curiosity that many concede but few articulate. We question, endlessly, how anyone could hurt another in such unspeakable ways, while simultaneously being drawn to the stories that humanize the monsters among us. Perhaps in contemplating the darker aspects of humanity, we confront our own fears, our own shadows that whisper truths we dare not acknowledge. The frightful actions of cannibal killers invite us to explore our dark instincts, provoking a reconciliation between our innate fears and desires. But as we delve through these chilling narratives, it is vital to remain anchored in the reality that these individuals are not representations of humanity in total, but rather disturbing deviations. Moreover, reflecting upon these tales reminds us that evil is not a trait confined to a select group of individuals. Each of us has the capacity to confront and wrestle with darker impulses within the human condition. It is this recognition, the acknowledgement of our own humanity, that challenges our understanding of morality, empathy, and social responsibility. In contemplating the horrifying truths behind cannibal killers, we uncover narratives of human suffering that resonate far beyond the grotesque acts themselves. Through understanding, exploration, and an earnest engagement with the shadows, we may inch closer to promoting awareness surrounding mental health, reducing stigma, and nurturing connections that can prevent similar tragedies from occurring in the future. As we draw our exploration to a close, let us remain vigilant. The stories of cannibal killers are warnings coded in horror and intrigue. They compel us to dissect the fibers of human existence, and as uncomfortable as it might feel, they challenge us to engage with humanity's darkest inclinations. This exploration isn't merely an inspection of evil, it serves as a mirror reflecting our societal values, pressures, and our ongoing struggle to make sense of phenomena that elude comprehension. Turning the page on these chilling tales, let us steer our discourse into grounded realms, shaping compassion toward mental health advocacy, encouraging open conversations about human behavior, and promoting empathy where conflict arises. In understanding our fears, we better navigate the complexities of human relationships, ultimately rediscussing what binds us as a society and what might tear us apart. Remember, in the abyss between humanity and monstrosity lies a path we can either amplify with empathy or plunge deeper into darkness. The choice remains ours. We must be inquisitive, remain aware, and strive towards understanding the roots which foster these terrifying realities. Only then can we hope to advocate for a future less haunted by the lives and actions of those who transgress into cannibalistic horrors. May compassion and awareness guide us as we continue our journey through the uncharted territories of human experience. What lies ahead will undoubtedly challenge our perceptions, but embracing this challenge heralds the potential for growth, a raw and essential aspect of our collective humanity.